In this video, we're going to do some quick worked examples of multiplying and dividing by decimals. Let's start off with multiplying. I'm going to take 1.2 and multiply it by 0.3. If I take 1.2 and multiply it by a positive number that's less than 1, we're going to end up with a smaller number. To deal with this problem, the first thing I'm going to do now is count the total number of digits after the decimals. We can see that I've got 2 digits. I'm going to write over here that I've got 2 digits. If I start with 2 digits after the decimals, I'm going to end up with 2 digits after the decimal in my answer. At this stage, what we're going to do is get rid of the decimals and take these to be whole numbers or integers. So here I'm going to have 12 multiplied by 0.3, which is just 3. 12 times by 3 is going to give me 36. I know that 36 is going to form part of my answer. I've started with 2 digits in total after the decimals, so I need to end with 2. So I write the 36, we have our 2 digits, the decimal comes in, and we end up with 0.36. So we can see that this number has now got smaller. Let's take 0.2 and multiply it by 0.3. Again, we have 2 digits in total after the decimals. If we start with 2, we're going to end with 2. So if I just put this over here, we've got now 2. So I'm going to take the integer values, the whole numbers, 2 times by 3, that's going to give me 6. So we know that 6 is going to be in my answer. I need 2. So what I have is 6, and then I insert a 0, then we have the decimal place, and we end up now with 0.06. Let's take 0.5 and multiply it by 0.11. This time I have 3 digits in total. So I've got the 5, I've got a 1, and then I've got another 1. So if I start with 3, I need to end with 3. We take the integer values and we have 5 times by 11. 5 times by 11 is 55. So I know that 55 is going to be my answer. I have 5. I need to end with 3, so we insert the 0 and we end up now with 0.055. Let's do another one. Let's go for 0.12 multiplied by 0.08. So this time we have in total 4 digits after the decimal. So if we start with 4, we're going to end with 4. So I'm just going to write over here, and of course you don't need to do this after a while, you can just write them down. We're going to end up with 4. Taking the integer values, we're going to have 12 times by 0.8, which is just 12 times 8. 12 times 8 is 96. This is going to form part of our answer. We put the 96 in, but we need 4 digits, so we have 2 zeros, and then we have 0. So we have 0.0096. So that's now multiplying decimals. We might have an integer value. So let's say we end up with 12 times by 0.3. Here now we have 1 digit in total after the decimal. We do 12 times by the 3, which is 36. This time we need 1 digit, so we simply have 3.6. And that's fairly straightforward. If we think about this in real world terms, 12 times by 36p is going to be equal to £3.60. So that's a nice one to finish off with. Okay, let's go ahead and look at division. What I'm going to start with is the following. I'm going to have 10 divided by 0.2. It's easier if we don't divide by a decimal. What I'm going to do is multiply the 10 by 10 and multiply the 0.2 by 10. If I do this, I'm going to end up clearing now the decimal. So 10 times by 10, that's going to give me 100. And then we're going to have 0.2 times by 10, which is going to give me now 2. So this calculation is identical to this one. We've got 100 divided by 2, and that gives me 50. If we divide a number by another number that's between 0 and 1, 0 and 1 not included, it's going to end up getting bigger. Let's do another one. Let's do 25 divided now by 0.4. So all we're going to do now is multiply both of these by 10. So that's going to give me 250 divided by 4. So all I've done is multiplied both of these by 10. So if we look at this now, we're going to end up with 250 divided by 4 250 divided by 4 is going to give me 62.5. So our answer would be 62.5. Let's say we had 30 divided by 0.06. This time, if I multiply it by 10, we're still going to have a decimal. So what I'm going to do is multiply these by 100. So we're going to end up now with 100. If I multiply 30 by 100, I'm going to end up now with 3,000. 3,000 divided by, multiplying this by 100, 6. So all I've done is cleared the decimals. 3,000 divided by 6 is going to be 500. So we can see now that dividing by a number between 0 and 1 is going to end up making this value larger. So all we're doing is simply now multiplying up. If we had, for example, now, let's say we had 6 divided by 0.002, multiplying by 100 would be no good. So we'd simply multiply each of these by 1,000. So this would give me 6,000 divided now by 2. 6,000 divided by 2 is going to give me 3,000. So we can see now the smaller this number gets, the larger this one is going to end up getting. So that's dividing by decimals. It's easier not to divide by a decimal. Therefore, if we do the same to each of the values, it will give us the same calculation.